Welcome back to Loving Life, where we are in the first couple of days of October. Can you believe it? I absolutely love October. I love this time of year, as I've said many times before. So I am totally in my element at the moment, although it's getting a little bit cold here and I'm having to put the heating on because I do hate being cold. I love this time of year, but I hate being cold. I also hate being too hot. So yeah, that's not good, is it? But I do get like pinky cheeks. I've just put a bit of blusher on, but I get pinky cheeks when the heating's on. I just really struggle to regulate my temperature, perimenopausal and all that. Can't be helped. Anyway, last week I mentioned about gratitude. I talk about gratitude a lot, as you probably know. And I've decided that in November, I'm going to do the magic. Now, if you haven't heard of the magic, it is a 28-day gratitude process. It's a book written by Rhonda Byrne, who is the author of The Secret. You must have heard of The Secret. If you haven't heard me talking about it, then you must have heard somebody else talking about it. So I have decided to start it in the month of November, and I welcome anybody to join me. I just find when you do things together, you've got that bit of accountability and you're more likely to stick to it. And some people have really big life-changing things happen when they do the magic. And I actually broke my hand when I was doing the magic, and that might sound like a bad thing, but bear with me. So this is when I had my cake business, and I was like, couldn't decide if my heart was in it anymore. And when I was doing the magic, this was like really on my mind about my cake business, because obviously you are taught to be grateful for the things you've got. And I was finding it really hard to be grateful for my cake business. Sounds awful. So I asked for a sign if I should be doing my cake business anymore. And the universe sent me a whopping sign. So I fell over in Aldi, of all places, which if you're not from the UK, do you have a Aldi in America? I don't know. Anyway, so I was in Aldi, the supermarket, and I was doing something stupid. I am quite short, so I was stood on a shelf trying to get the yogurt that is always, like the yogurt that I like is always right at the very bloody back at the top, and I can never reach it. So I was stood on a shelf, which I've done a million times before. The shelf broke, I fell back, broke my hand. There you go. So basically, like literally that morning, I'd asked the universe for a sign. Now, if that's not a sign that I shouldn't be doing cakes anymore, then I don't know what is. So as you can imagine, I listened to that sign and literally pretty much immediately closed down my business. And here we are, over 2 years later. I've still got, now when I've talked about this on my podcast, I've never been able to show you before. So I'm sorry if you're listening, but if you're watching on YouTube, can you see my bent finger? Like that's as much as I can straighten it. I actually think it's a nice little reminder of what happened. So yeah, that's how gratitude has a big impact on you. It makes you be grateful for really rubbish things that happen. Like obviously, don't get me wrong, there was a lot of negative emotions going on around then because I had to let people down. I had wedding cakes booked in that obviously I couldn't do when I had my hand in cast. So it wasn't all hunky-dory, but on the whole, I did manage to look at it and see it as a good thing. So yeah, it just like practicing gratitude and being in the habit of practicing gratitude, being in the habit of seeing the positives in things, seeing the signs in things and actually listening to them, it does get you into the habit of thinking more positively. So yeah, it can have like a massive effect on your outlook in life. Once you get into the habit of it. So the magic is an amazing way to get into that habit because to be honest with you, once you've done it for 28 days, you are pretty much addicted to it. So yeah, if anybody wants to join me in November, then I'll set up a little group and I will pop the link to the book in the notes. If you don't mind, please buy it through my link because I've just signed up to Amazon affiliates. And as you know, I don't make any money through this podcast yet. So it'd be quite nice for me to make some money through it. So please buy the book through my link. Anyway, so the thing I I'm going to talk about gratitude for the whole of October to just so as we can look at the importance of practicing gratitude. I mean, if you don't understand the importance from my little story there, then you obviously need the rest of the month to get your head around it. But I just think it's such a big subject that it can't really be contained into one episode. So I'm going to break it down into little mini subjects for each week of the month. So the thing I want to talk about today is the science behind gratitude. And this is something I don't think I've ever really gone into much before, is the science behind it. Like, people think that it's, you know, a hippie woo-woo practice, but there is science behind it. So I have got my notes. So this episode isn't necessarily as flowy and chatty as I normally would be, and I will be referring to my notes. But yeah, here we go. So the science behind gratitude. So when we express and receive gratitude, the brain releases dopamine and serotonin, and these are two of the feel-good hormones. Serotonin is the happy hormone, and dopamine is like that addictive, that little hit that we get when we do something, like we get satisfaction from it. So it can be addictive, which in this case is not a bad thing. These two hormones, dopamine and serotonin, they enhance your mood immediately. So some of the studies that I've looked at have stated that gratitude improves our mental health over a period of time. However, the fact that it releases those hormones which instantly change your mood, and I'm going to talk about, I'm going to try not to mention vibration and frequency in this episode because I'm going to do another episode on that, but obviously it instantly changes your mood, which is going to change your vibration. There was a study that looked at individuals who were receiving guidance for their mental health, so seeing a therapist or a counsellor. They looked at two different groups, and one group was asked to write letters of gratitude alongside their counselling or therapy sessions. And there was another group that were asked to just journal their negative experiences and their negative emotions instead of writing gratitude alongside their sessions. Now, the group that was asked to write letters of gratitude, they, in this study, felt better and recovered sooner. Their mental health recovered sooner. The group who were asked to journal their negative experiences, they reported feelings of anxiety and depression. So therefore, their mental health did not improve as quickly. Now, one thing that I just want to stress here is this study and myself, I am certainly not saying not to honour your negative emotions and your negative experiences. Like with what I do with belief coding and, you know, all the other coaching that I do, quite the contrary. It's so important to honour those negative experiences. But the thing is, like, we don't just want to leave it there. So if you can write gratitude letters, lists, experience gratitude, express gratitude, then your mental health is going to be in a much better position than somebody who doesn't do that. Another study found that gratitude being practiced daily can be almost as effective as medications, like antidepressant medications. And I don't know about you, I am not dissing Western medicine by any means, but I would much rather deal with the root cause of something. I would much rather deal with something naturally if I'm able to. And that goes in any area of my life. Okay, so sleep quality. There have been other studies that have looked into how it affects your sleep quality. And these studies have shown that gratitude activates the hypothalamus. I have looked at this before because it's got a lot to do with hormones and menopause. It's the part of your brain that manages your hormones. And it also controls, like the hormones that it releases, control your sleep, your body, your temperature, fatigue, things like that. So on the whole, people who practice gratitude regularly, they tend to sleep better. And I can only go on my own experience here. Like, I sleep really well. I don't struggle to get off at night. Like, I don't have a stressful job. And I know some people might think, oh, well, lucky you, you don't have a stressful job. But I choose not to have a stressful job, you know? That might be quite controversial and upsetting to some people, but I choose not to have a stressful job. That's not to say that what I do is easy. Like, far from it. I am constantly on the go, whether that is with family, whether that is trying to promote my business, whether that is podcasting and trying to promote that as well. It's not easy. It's actually very difficult and very full on, but it's not stressful. Or maybe some people do find it stressful, but I just don't let myself feel stressed. I don't know. Probably because I practice gratitude. That leads me on nicely to saying that another study that I was looking into has shown that people who practice gratitude daily show less cortisol levels. And cortisol is obviously the stress hormone. So practicing gratitude makes you less stressed. This study also showed that the people who practice gratitude are more resilient to emotional setbacks and negative experiences. And it goes back to what I was saying earlier about like practicing gratitude just helps you get into the habit of looking at the positives in a situation. Like even when something rubbish does happen, yes, obviously you experience the rubbish side of it, but you're also looking for the positives in something as well. And like, I can't tell you the amount of times that people have rolled their eyes at me and got annoyed with me, to be quite honest, about here you are with your positive thinking, like I don't experience anything rubbish, but that's not true. Like I do, I just don't focus on it. And like the times when I do feel that I struggle to find the positives in things. Like, obviously, let's take Hugo over the summer, for example, like everything we went through with Hugo's illness, finding out that he had cancer, then the grief that I felt after he'd gone and still do feel. It can be really difficult to find any positives. And for a while, I did struggle to find any positives. Like I blamed myself. I felt guilty for certain things, like all stages of the grief process that we all go through. Like I felt that as well. Just because I practice gratitude, just because I'm a positive person, doesn't mean I don't experience negative emotions. I do. It's just that when I can find other things around me to be grateful for, like obviously there was absolutely nothing I was grateful for to do with Hugo's situation. But I do believe that, you know, my general positive outlook got me through that stage of grief quicker than it would have if I didn't practice all that kind of stuff. Does that make sense? So when I was doing my research for this episode, something I came across was a question had been asked on Google: can anxiety and gratitude coexist? And it says, is a fact of neurology. And it said, it is a fact of neurology that the brain cannot be in a state of appreciation and a state of fear at the same time. The two states may alternate, so obviously that means you can feel both, but not at the same time. They cannot exist together at the same time. So if you think the more and more we get into the habit of practicing gratitude, I know it sounds a bit of a cliche, doesn't it? Practicing gratitude. Like I say it all the time. I know I do. And I expect so many other people in the same industry as me say it all the time. And it does feel like a bit of a cliche, but it is what it is at the end of the day. Gratitude is being thankful. Gratitude is showing appreciation. Gratitude is realizing all the amazing stuff that is around you. It's paying attention to the positive things. I can't remember what my point was going to be there. But basically, at the end of the day, the science behind gratitude is that the brain releases chemicals when you show gratitude. It releases the chemicals such as serotonin and dopamine. And obviously, of course, that has an effect on your brain. It has an effect on your moods and so many other aspects of your body and your life. It can alter the way we see the world, and it can alter the way we see ourselves. Like, I love that. Obviously, I've taken a lot of notes from other websites and other people's resources today. So I'm going to post all of that down below just in case you, I don't know, want to back up, want to check what I've said, or want to look further into it. But I just wanted to start off my little gratitude series, mini series, should we say, by talking about the science, because the minute you mention the word science backed or scientifically proven, like, people take it more seriously. And I really, really, really want you to take gratitude seriously. Like, practicing gratitude has literally changed my life. So just to recap, gratitude can be a natural antidepressant. It can release toxic emotions. It can release happy hormones that then counterbalance toxic emotions. It can improve your sleep. It can make you feel less stressed. It can make you feel less anxious. And it can change how you see the world. It can change how you see yourself. Okay, so by all means, go on and buy the magic. We'll be starting, well, I'll be starting in November. You're welcome to do it whenever you want, but it'd be nice to do it together. I'm going to be starting on the 1st of November. And like I said, I'm going to be talking about gratitude for the rest of this month. What else did I want to say? Self-confidence boosting session that I did last month, which I absolutely loved. And I've had such lovely feedback from it. Like, people have described it as magical, as enlightening, as transformative. And one person who was on it messaged me earlier to say that she's now stopped putting herself down in front of other people at work. I think the thing is, a lot of us actually do that when we compare ourselves to others, when we automatically assume that other people are going to be better than us, when we worry about what people think of us. Like, we naturally talk ourselves down in front of people, and it stopped her doing that, which is amazing. I love that. So I am going to be doing some more sessions. If you are on my email list, then you probably have received the dates for that already. If you're not, then head to sign up for my emails, or follow me on social media and you'll find out there as well. What else did I want to say? I think that's about it for this week. I'm going to shoot off because I've got to go and pick the boys up now and I don't want to be late. But next week, we're going to be looking at some practices, some gratitude practices. It doesn't have to just be writing a gratitude list in the morning. There's plenty of practices that you can do. And then another week, we're going to be looking at gratitude and manifesting, and like vibration and frequency. So I hope to see you again, and I hope you've enjoyed finding out the scientifically proven benefits of practicing gratitude. By all means, start off by writing a gratitude list in the morning. Just find 3 things that you're grateful for the day before or in general in life. And I promise you that will start your day off more positively. And the more we can do this, the more we'll be in the habit of thinking that way. Right, I will see you next week. And don't forget to subscribe to my email so you can find about the sessions. Don't forget to buy the magic through my link. Thank you so much. And yeah, thanks for tuning in again. See you soon. Bye.